Welcome to the Black Men Think podcast. If this is your first time here, know that the views and opinions expressed by the Black Men Think podcast are those of the Black Men Think podcast and not the individual members. With that being said, we're about to be unapologetically, undeniably black. Enjoy.
So, man, welcome to the Black Man Think podcast, where we elevate our black man because black men be out here thinking. Different setting. We're virtual, as you can see right now, but it's me and Mo here. And I don't know, man. I don't think we got to sugarcoat it. We can probably just dive right in, huh?
4 more years, right?
Yeah, 4 more years, bro. 4 more years, man. But you,
well, hold up.
So how's the temperature?
First and foremost, what's the sip of the night?
Oh man, I'm sorry. This is one of these little Jack Daniel down home punches. So something simple, something, nothing too crazy. I just grabbed what I had in the cool over here and just, popped the can. So,
Gotcha.
That's it for the night. Take some.
Salute.
It's pretty good.
Salute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Early reaction.
If I'm being completely honest and as transparent as possible, bro, I didn't really have much of a reaction. My hearts of hearts kind of felt like it was going to happen. Like, did I want her to win? Absolutely. I can tell you I voted for her. I thought the VP easily could have, was on her way. But I also realized where I live at. And I can't remember if I saw it on social media or something, but I can't. So I can't give the credit to the person who said this is not coming from me. I read this somewhere, but the person was like, "Yo, bro, all you got to do is drive, 5-10 miles outside of your metropolitan city, and you'll see what America look like, And that's just the reality, bro. We live in major cities where we see the progression. We see the uplifting of everybody, and everything looks a certain way because we live in Atlanta. It's no different if like you lived in LA or live in New York. Things look that way because we're a big metropolitan city.
Yeah.
However, once you drive outside of that metropolitan city, bro, the truth comes out,
Yeah. And Atlanta in itself is an anomaly in terms of, black population as it is. Ironically, I was very similar, bro. Like I tried to stay up. I just got to a point I was I'm going to sleep.
Same.
Listen, I seen this before,
Yep.
And to be honest, I think I would have been more surprised if she did win, because I think America voted exactly in the identity that it is, right? And I think we like to take in this idea. It feels good. It feels fuzzy and warm that we are something different, that we are
right
moving in this like forward progression. It feels good, and a lot of these moments, they feel good. There's hope. And I'm speaking very, very specifically about politics, but let's not shy away from the reality that less than 4 years ago, we were here. Like we were in the thick of, or at least towards the tail end of, Donald Trump's presidency. Yeah. And 4 years later, we're about to walk right back into it. And it's not hard to believe,
No. It's not hard to believe, bro. I mean, for me, I can truly say that I was not surprised, nor was I. There was no shock. There was some, especially not like last time I was shocked, right? Like
Yeah.
I was in disbelief. I was like, really? And it wasn't because of who Trump was. It was more so like, bro has no political background, and he is the president of the United States. That was my mindset, when he first got elected.
Yeah.
This time around, bro, it's just like, man, all the chips stacked against them on paper, this doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even make sense that we're having this conversation. If I was like, if I didn't know it was Donald Trump, if I didn't know it was Kamala, if I didn't know any of this, Kamala, excuse me, if I'm looking on paper and I'm like, what are we talking about today? Like on paper, it doesn't make sense, bro. But you know, my mindset has and always been, no one's coming to save us. Like, you gotta go and get your health together, get your money together, boy, and buy some property, buy some land, and or buy a business and get on out the way. And you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? That's just where I've been with it for the most part anyway, you know.
Yeah. I don't. And I hate to sound like, you know, come off negative or sound not even apathetic, numb. I think is a better word. I hate to feel that way or sound that way, but that's just how I view it. I mean, the statistics will show you them itself. You know, like the likelihood of white men changing the way that they vote, the likelihood of white women completely changing the way that they vote. Now, I think the shocker that probably threw a lot of people off, and honestly, I'll tell you why I'm not surprised by it, is the Latino vote, the Latinx vote, and how many voted for Trump, which is,
Yeah.
you think like, man, this just sounds like an oxymoron. Like, this man berates your community. He pretty much calls you every name left and right
Yep.
outside of illegal. That's worse than calling you illegal. And promises time after time after time the number of ways that he's going to try to send everyone back over, to their homeland. So to see that vote is probably confusing to a lot of people. And, I'll share something that a very close friend of mine who's from Mexico shared with me once. We were having a real deep conversation about why a certain population of Latino men want to see themselves or number themselves with Republicans. And it's simply because they want to be that. Like, they see this white American dream. They see what it looks like. They see their pathway, or they see the image of what they would
Yeah.
aspire to be.
Right, right, right.
Right. And so they begin to subconsciously number themselves with, they take on the ideals, they take on the tone of voice. There's even a hidden or yet indirect racist tone
Yeah.
towards black men that can happen, and it just gets embodied in the community in a way. And obviously, I'm just sharing what I've heard from a Latin man. I'm not one. I can't say that this is every one of you who name yourself as a Latinx man, but it's just something that was shared with me, and it makes sense. And I feel like we
Yeah.
see examples of that, here. So
Yeah. Yeah, bro. I mean, simply put, and I think we talked about this in the group chat, or I didn't even respond, but I was reading. I was doing a lot of reading of the message that was going through the group chat. But ultimately, America got the president who they voted for. Like, that's,
yeah,
it's a mirror image of what America looks like, if we just
being
being honest.
close.
You know what I'm saying? And so I don't that word you use, numb, bro. It's like I keep coming back to it because that's That's how I woke up this morning with no confidence of a victory. Like that's how I woke up. I woke up like, nah, bro. Because like
Bro,
when you at
I woke up. I didn't even. I went about my normal routine,
facts,
and it
facts.
was maybe 45 minutes into my day, and I was like, oh, let me just. I mean, I think I know how this turned out, but let
Yeah,
me just check. Like, it wasn't even a thing where I was like, I gotta wait. I woke up honestly, and I'm just keeping it real. I woke up more interested in what the fantasy waivers look like, because I already knew going to sleep. Like I've seen this before.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And I was up when North Carolina when the victory came for North Carolina. I was like, oh, if you got North Carolina, it's
yeah,
because then you're only hoping for Georgia pretty much.
yeah, and then you know how Georgia
And
goes.
Georgia, we don't have the same like there wasn't a lot of I'm trying to think about there wasn't a lot of motivation around changing the state to blue like it was with Stacey Abrams, right? Like when Stacey Abrams, there was a whole campaign around it. There was everything, all of the noise about like, yo, let's flip the state, let's flip the state. I didn't feel that this time around, right? There wasn't a lot of noise about like, let's flip the state. It was more so, oh, we did it one time, so we should be good now. Like, not even really, any concern. And so when I saw the North Carolina victory, I was just like, oh, bro, Georgia is right behind them. Like, we're not there's no energy. It's always going to be your metropolitan cities, but if you look at the map, bro, outside of Atlanta, Macon, Columbus, Augusta, Savannah,
Albany.
like that's it. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? Everything else is just what we expected.
yeah, and I mean, granted, there wasn't even enough time to, I think, build a fire. I think we saw a little spark. I think it felt good and almost like relieving that Biden finally got out of the way.
Yeah, yeah,
But let's be honest, like, come on, dog. A presidential debate had already taken place. Like, the lady had a few months
yeah,
to
yeah,
gather and pull together a support, and it was a rapid pull. She raised a ton of money because I think people realize, man, this was a big relief. But I would have been shocked if it worked.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it would have been amazing if it did, but hey, at the end of the day, and here's honestly how I feel about all this, man. I've heard a lot today. I've heard a lot of
yeah,
anger, a lot of anxiety. I know people who have cried. I've seen a lot of posts and messages on social media with a lot of just kind of hate tone, feel, and that's it's going back and forth already,
right,
right?
right, right.
Bro, politics ain't gonna save nobody, man. Like if your hope isn't in something else, something more concrete, if your peace doesn't reside in another space, you're gonna lose your mind over this type of stuff,
That's a
and
fact.
you're gonna lose your mind over things you can't control, over outcomes that, frankly, we worry about and paint pictures of
Yeah,
worse than they actually will be. Now, I'm not here to say that they won't do some damage while he's in office. There's going to be some
oh,
intentionality behind a lot of the decisions. We're already hearing some of the initiatives that they want to put in place that are, can take us back to the Stone Ages. But let's relax. Let's
yeah,
breathe. Let's continue life, like you said earlier. Like, keep pushing for your dreams, your goals. Be the change that you want to see, and prepare some folks around you for the next go round. Like, this isn't
yeah.
gonna last forever. So
I do like what you just said. Preparing for the next go round. Because the truth is, there was very limited time to get prepared for a true campaign run, right? Like everything was behind in the finances, behind in just the marketing. I think the campaign was ran as well as it could for the time that was there. But I love what you said. Like start preparing for the next 4 years, bro. Because what I didn't like was that I felt that we just got hit with a bunch of stuff at like one time. And I know this happened every campaign cycle, but I would love to be talked to in year one, in year two,
Yeah,
in year three, then hit me hard in year four.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? But like, don't try to throw so much information at me at one time, so many promises and all of these things at one time. Like, let's get the ball rolling now. So like, it starts now, right? There's nothing that we can do. There's, she's already conceded, so that's it. Like,
just
Trump
right.
is the 47th president of the United States. Cool. What are you doing now to help yourself move forward, right?
Yeah,
Like I mentioned at the beginning of this program, bro, especially at our age, like I can't speak for a 25-year-old. I can't really speak for a 30-year-old, but for somebody like 40 and up, bro, if you are not at bare minimum playing the real estate game or like bare minimum own some type of small business, bro, I really don't know what you're doing. And I'm not doing that to like point fingers, but I'm just saying I'm being realistic, bro. Like that this
yeah,
is the name of the game of where we're at. And if you are not positioning yourself and like when I'm saying the real estate game, bro, it's simple as just buying your first home. Like that's it. Like I don't think we have to get into all the ins and outs right now. It's just buy your first home and like sit on it and let the value of that house go up so you can make a move for the next home. You know what I'm saying? But if you're not at least attempting to be in one of those avenues and you're 40 plus, bro, like it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough moving forward.
yeah.
It's gonna be rough, man.
Indeed, man. And that's the message. It's just personal preparation. But I mean, honestly, our political system needs an overhaul. It's so much that's wrong about it. And granted, we are where we are, and I'm a faith based man, bro. So
That's all I'm
God,
saying.
God knew. Like, well, I mean, this is not a shock to him.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is
yeah.
this is something that's allowed. Now, I don't personally believe God is on the side of a candidate, right? Like, I don't think there's a candidate that embodies God's way. I don't. I just don't. Like, at the end of the day, they're there to win a campaign.
That's
That's their
it.
goal, not to embody in God we trust in this godly country and the facade of that, because
Right.
that's not true. That's not real. That's not who we are as a nation in so many different ways. And I don't expect and anticipate a candidate to come and embody that for me. I'm going to have to do that myself.
Got to. You got to, man. You got to do it yourself. And but I think one thing that we definitely can do, especially now in this season that we're in, is not only prepare yourself, but make sure you're preparing the people in your circle, right? Like,
Yes.
so pull in the information that, because, like, I mean, we talk about it all the time, but in our crew, there are so many different spheres of influence, right? Like, we have people in all these different areas, and we are always kind of pouring into one another in some form, shape, form, or fashion, right? If there is a political conversation, we have two people on the team that we can talk to and really get a breakdown of what's going on, right? If there's something happening in the world of law, we have somebody that can break some of that stuff down. Entertainment, we have people that can break that down. And like I think some of those things are so important in terms of having the people around you that can kind of help and shape and help you grow to be a better person. And so right now, I mean, that's the only message that I can really put out there. It's like, bro, get your circle tight. Make sure that you have people around you that are trying to better themselves and who is open or are open to helping you better yourself. And
Yeah.
then, bro, get to work. You know what I'm saying? Get to
So
work.
it's interesting. I just thought about something. And the question I'm gonna pose a question to you, and then I'm gonna share with you like where I'm even seeing this. So my question to you is, what type of country do you want to live in? Like, what do you want to see? The reason I'm asking you this is because I just got back from Dubai, right? All the way on the other side of the world. First of all, it was an experience. Like it's an amazing place. Never, I knew there was a lot going on there, but never did I imagine to stumble upon this oasis, like in the middle of
Right,
the desert.
right.
where I'm walking in and driving into a city that looks like, visually speaking, they are like years ahead of any city that I've ever stepped foot in America.
Right.
From the architecture, some of the technological advances, the tone of space that you're walking through, and from the cleanliness to the idea, and it's an idea that this place is crime free, but they've marketed it like amazingly, to the point where you walk around, you're like, no, it actually feels that way.
Yeah.
And every corner there's something unique and different. Like, it is like New York, LA, Chicago, Atlanta, your favorite vacation spot in the desert, balled up, wrapped in one, and then like thrown at you in the most massive way that you can think of. And yet I'm looking across this city where I'm going to different places, from top of the Burj Khalifa, which is the tallest building in the world, to seeing like the Future Museum, seeing so many different experiences, the desert safaris. And I'm like, man, I am around this is literally a melting pot of the world in one place.
Right.
There are Africans, there are Europeans, there are Asians, there are Indians, there are Americans. There are people from literally every facet. I was on the elevator with a guy that was from New Zealand. It's insane, and yet there's such a peace that exists in that space. There's room for everybody's culture. Everybody respects everyone's culture, and there's just, it is like, in a sense, in a way, at least a sense of euphoria. So it's interesting to experience, and yet I can come back home to this, right, and be like, dang, this is wild in America. Like, we hadn't figured that out yet.
Well,
so
I mean, that's actually a very tough question to answer. And the only reason why I say that is because I think this world is what you're gonna make of it, right? Because I'm gonna tell you the one thing that really, I don't want to say like pissed me off, but like I really dislike seeing the people say like, "Oh man, it's time to move out the country." Like, fam, you're not going anywhere. Like, that's first off, you're not going anywhere. So like, let's keep it above. Like, you got people saying that who don't have a passport, right? And so I'm like, you haven't even took the first step, right? So that part always kind of bugs me, because you're not. I mean, and we also live in a world where the news cycle will change in a week and a half, and we're on to the next thing, right? That's even with us having a podcast. We're going to be on to talking to something else, next week. And so, for me, man, the kind of world that I want to live in, if I'm talking about perfect, right? Which I know there's no such thing as perfect, but ideal, a world where like I don't have to watch my back, and I don't have to worry about my children. Right? Like, I'll tell you the perfect example. Whenever we get up and all of our kids in one place, and we sitting outside, or our kids outside playing, and there's like a moment of no worries, that's what I like. Right? Get up, leave, and like, let's all as a group go somewhere. We can go and fly somewhere where we want to go with no worries. Like, I would love to be able to drive and not see a police and tense up.
okay.
But you know what I'm saying? But that's me like thinking of a perfect place to live. But the flip side of all of that is, in America, bro, you could take $100 and start a business and become a millionaire. You know what I'm saying? It's that opportunity, and I think because that opportunity exists, people are willing to deal with all the other BS that comes along with it.
Gotcha.
Because the truth is, there are a lot of places where like that just can't happen. Now, we've also romanticized capitalism and all of that, and that's a deep dive, because you notice when you go to, especially in the Caribbean, when you go and visit places in the Caribbean, bro, like, everybody's relaxed. They don't, and they don't have what's considered a lot, but they have what they need, and everybody's just like, no, man, I'm good. Like, I got my house, I got my kids, I got the ocean. You know what I'm saying? I got a bountiful amount of food right there in the water, bro. I can go fishing today, and I got food to eat, and it's just like I don't have any worries, so to speak. But we know what comes along there because we grew up in America, bro. That looks great to come visit. However,
If you live there,
yeah, you know what
yeah,
I'm
you get to see
saying?
the underworld. You get to see the other side of things, and that's why I asked. I'm just because I think people don't have their own answer for that question in many ways. I think we adopt something that we've heard,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
I don't often hear people express the world that they want to see, the country, the state, the city that they want to be a part of. And it's always something that's that's given to us, an idea. We're going to do this. We're going to roll out this, and we're looking to develop this, and we think, oh, that's nice. I would like that. But not too many people walk around with an idea of what they want
Yeah.
their world to look like, and I think that's where we lack imagination and we lack the ownership, I would say, of the environment that we should walk through every day. It's like, what type of world do you want? We'll take that idea and do something about it.
Do
Like
something about it.
go
Yeah,
produce, the ideal world, not just for yourself but for others.
for others. Yeah,
So it's interesting, man. Like the experience somewhere else reminds you. It kind of humbles you and it reminds you like this Western culture that we sit in every day is not reality for so many people on this world.
yeah, you're right.
It comes with so many benefits, like you alluded to, right? But we need to think bigger. We need to think
Yeah,
broader. And while we can try and package some of the benefits of having an American lifestyle, there we aren't necessarily the pinnacle in everything. And there are things that we can learn from other places. There are resources that we can utilize and experiences that we should go see.
yeah.
Because the world is a lot bigger than our day to day experience. The world is a lot bigger than a presidential election,
That's a fact.
and there's a lot more going on in the world. So I'm trying to approach this whole thing, these last few weeks of an experience, this election, with that mindset of like, hey, my life continues. I still got to go be great for the
Yeah,
people
that's a
that I
fact.
love. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you said that perfect, bro. It's a great question to ask, and really a question that I think we should try to circulate more. You know what I mean? Just to at least even you don't have to have the answer, but at least you have to think about it. You know what I'm saying? Because if I think about just my life to the core, I just want to be in a position to be able to like at any given point in time go wherever I want to go with my family in whatever capacity that is. It could be vacation. It could be traveling for work. But like some of the things that we deal with, and it's the world that we live in, bro. When I look at some of these shows where like there are families that they travel with their children, their children is not necessarily in a school, like they're homeschooled or whatever, but their experiences is saying like, you want to learn Spanish? All right, boom. We're going to live in Spain for 2 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's go and live in Spain for 2 years. Let's say you're not being recorded for whatever reason. It says,
Yeah, I just saw that.
yeah, I don't know why. I mean, we'll keep going and we'll see what happens. We testing it out, but like saying like go and live in Spain for 2 years and learn the language, learn the culture with people. You know what I'm saying? It's just I think those things are different and give people an opportunity to like really get a different understanding of culture versus living in America your whole life, bro. Like we have a very skewed view of what the world is. So
Yeah.
much so that we leave here and go places and realize very quickly why people don't necessarily like Americans because of our arrogance and you know I'll share one quick story. The first time I went to Europe and I tried to tip somebody, and they looked at me like I was like, it was an insult. And I'm like, I don't understand. I'm trying to give you money for your services. And the person was like, no thanks. I get paid enough. And it hit me. I was just
That's
like,
crazy.
yo, it never crossed my mind like the disservice that we do to servers in America, bro. Like servers are making $2, $3 an hour, hoping to make tips.
Yeah.
Like, let's keep it a buck. They're hoping to make tips.
Not even hoping, they're automatically including them now. Like it ain't even a
Yeah.
hope anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? It's just like when you start thinking like that, just like, yo, this person is working for bare minimum. And then not only are they working for tips, those tips got to be split amongst other people. When in actuality, if you just paid the server a livable wage, you don't necessarily have to worry about the tipping. And it's like what that was my first experience of just like, oh yeah, we do stuff completely different in America, bro. Like
Yeah.
I've never thought of the concept of not tipping somebody for going to a restaurant. Never
Yeah.
crossed my mind.
Yeah, and that was somewhat the vibe in Dubai. I mean, in certain places where it was, a piece of it, it's a 10%. Like that is the max, as opposed to like a 20 or 22, so on and so forth. And 9 times out of 10, like it took a minute to even understand like how their system works. So we weren't tipping to begin. We were thinking like, how do we even add it? And then I finally figured
Right.
out how. But it wasn't like anybody got attitude. Like they were grateful. They were just happy that you were there. So it was an interesting and different cultural experience. And I think to your point, some people never leave their city, like
Yeah.
and don't even get a chance to taste another state. So I just think I think in a lot of this, a takeaway, something for us to learn is just like to broaden how you view life, the lens of life. It's not only in your experience. It's not only in what we consume in media. The world is vast. There's so much to
So much, bro.
consume. I got to see it personally, and I'm just warming up. So, yeah,
Yeah, bro. It's imperative. I mean, me and you are very similar in that aspect. Like,
yeah,
we got to see this world, bro.
got to.
I gotta see it. I just gotta see it, and I'm at the type to where I want to go and see it, and even if somebody has a negative viewpoint of it, I just want to see it for myself.
Yeah,
Now,
facts.
of course, there's a couple of places on the list that I don't
You ain't
care to
got to
go. Yeah, I
be.
don't have to go. I'm cool. I'll take
Yeah,
your word for it. But for the most part, bro, like I want to see it. I want to see it. I want to experience. I want to be able to be with the people and enjoy their home. You know what I mean? Because they come here and they enjoy our home. Like people come to New York and enjoy New York. They come to Atlanta and we take it for granted because it's here, But bro, it's the same feeling that you get the first time you went to Chicago and you see the Bean, or you
yeah,
know, you go to New York and see the Statue of Liberty. It's people who are not from this country get that same feeling. You know what I mean? And they
yeah,
want to go and buy the $2, $3 cheese slice. And so I just think that we can't take those times for granted. All of that to kind of sum up, bro. Yes, Donald Trump is the 47th president of the United States of America. Who would have thought that he would have been nominated, voted in, elected, all of the words that you want to use, not only once, but twice? Who would have thought? I didn't have that on my list, bro. Like that wasn't on the bingo card. I never would have guessed that, but here we are, right? Here we are. So look, if you want to hear what we're gonna talk about on Patreon, y'all got to go over there, because I think we can get into like the fact that Donald Trump is 2-0 versus women. I think there's some room for conversation there. But if you want that conversation, you got to go to Patreon. Patreon.com/BlackManThink. Join for that conversation because we're going over there right now to talk. With that being said, we appreciate y'all. We thank y'all for joining the Black Man Think podcast. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, comment, rate, review, do all of those good things. Tell a friend and tell a friend. And remember, Black Man Think podcast, where we elevate our black man because black men be out here thinking. We'll see y'all next week.
The Black Men Think Podcast.